Child physical abuse cases are extremely hard to defend against due to the lack of research into the causes of child injuries. At UC Davis, the animal rights protesters shut down experiments to determine the force that it took to break bones in animals. These studies would have helped estimate the force that it took to break bones in children. However, in the United States, we have found research on the force that it takes to break bones or cause subdural hematomas or other similar injuries to children are impossible to find. This lack of research leaves the field wide open for hysteria and junk science. Let me tell you about a case. We represented someone that had run away days before their trial, who was caught 4 years later. He ran because he knew he was going to be found guilty, even though he was innocent. At the time of the discovery of the injury, his child was about 1 month old and had a spiral fracture of the femur. He was being charged with child torture and was facing life in prison at the time, and so he ran. His prior defense attorney had found no explanation and no research on the issue. He didn't do his own medical research, and the only doctor that he talked to said it was the worst case of child abuse that the doctor had ever seen. Now, I remembered having had that doctor against me in one case years ago, and the doctor used the exact same line in that case. The child had not been immobilized, in other words, had not been put into a cast. Therefore, healing takes longer. That means that the injury could have occurred at the time of birth. The police officer interviewed the doctor and basically asked him, "Could you have caused this?" Or, "You didn't cause it, did you?" And of course the doctor replied, Oh, of course not." That ended the inquiry into whether or not the child had been injured at birth. We obtained the birth records, and it showed that there was a breech delivery. Also, what the birth records documented was that the doctor reached up into the pelvis of the mother, cut a membrane, reached in, took the legs of the child by the ankles, and rotated the child by the legs, and then extracted the child. That rotation force is the exact type of force that creates a spiral fracture. When we did our own research, we found that hospitals had stopped using this procedure due to injury to children. As we read over this research and reports, some of the injuries, including spiral fractures, were located 2/3 the way up the femur. That was the same as our case. This research was then given to a specialist on difficult deliveries, and he agreed to be our expert. Another copy was given to the district attorney after we had highlighted those sentences which had to do with spiral fractures during breech delivery. After reviewing the medical research, the district attorney dismissed the child abuse charges without a trial.